Here we go. Hi, everybody. Gloria Moraga here. How you doing? It is Monday. I was typing up what day it was for the graphic, which I don't like my graphic, but I'll talk about that later. And I typed in Wednesday because it seems like it's already Wednesday because it's been such a long day. There is so much going on. Let's start with, I am Gloria Moraga. This is Political News. It's my channel, my YouTube channel. I'm here to bring you at least every day a wrap-up or the top stories of the day. And basically, it is the top headlines of the day. There's just so much. So I want to say, please subscribe. Please like as we go along through the live stream. Please remember to smash the heart button over and over and over again. You can do it as many times. It won't cost you anything. And please subscribe to my channel. So when you start coming on to comment, please let me know if there's any issues with the audio or such. And be polite and kind to one another. As a political reporter, as a political producer, and a managing editor all my career, except for the time I worked at the university. You know, you try to figure out as you go through the day's news, what is the lead story tonight? And look at this. Ceasefire shudder. Okay, that could definitely be a lead story, because what? The ceasefire's over? It's going to end? U.S. sinks 6 Iranian boats. That's a lead story. That's big since we've been in the ceasefire. Iran opens fire on the United Arab Emirates. Definitely a big story. But of all the stories, Trump threat. Let me just expand a little bit here, make sure you see the whole. Blow Iran off the face of the earth. Apparently that was said, and I'll quote it for you, I'll quote the story for you. That was said in an interview that Trump was doing with Fox Entertainment, not a news station. And then if you look up here in the tiny little print, there's a little thunderbolt near this. Secret Service man shot by law enforcement near National Mall. And that's just some of the stuff that's going on today. I won't get into RFK Jr. and his bizarre bird rescue. And I will not get into, unless just to slam people, the Met Gala. Something I used to like to watch. So let's go to some headlines from this whole thing. And I've got obviously tons of videos for you guys to watch to kind of break all of this down. First of all, we should say this, and I don't know if I'm going to get dinged for this.
I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board.
May the fourth be with you, people. One of my favorite lines. I recognized your foul stench. I thought actually it was Princess Leia saying that to Darth Vader, but then I saw later when I was looking for the soundbite, she says it to others. So I thought I recognized your foul stench, which I'd like to say that a lot to a lot of people. Here, let's go to, there are bigger headlines here. Middle East crisis. Trump warns Iranian forces they will be, quote, blown off the face of the earth if they target U.S. ships. U.S. President's comment echoes threat that whole civilization will die as tension over Strait of Hormuz ramps up. Donald Trump sends warships to break Iran's Strait of Hormuz blockade. So that's that story in a nutshell. And I'm going to go to Al Jazeera because I want to read the actual story as you guys look at this tanker. But I am quoting here from Al Jazeera. The U.S. military says it is encouraging ships to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, but Iran says it is fully in control of the waterway. So that's how all of this came about. So in my live stream early this morning, so I was trying to get it done and get streaming late Sunday night, but I missed my deadline again because I had company. And we talked about all this, and Trump saying we're going to start escorting ships through because apparently he's under pressure from friendly nations who are saying, help us, help us. So U.S. President Donald Trump, they start with the latest news, has warned Iran it would be blown off the face of the earth if it attacks U.S. ships as tensions around the Strait of Hormuz push the truce between the two countries to the brink. I don't know. I'm just a political reporter, but I think the truce is, I mean, when you're firing on the United Arab Emirates blowing up a ship, and when the United States is sinking a number of, how many ships, Iranian ships, six ships, 6 Iranian, well, they're boats, okay? They're the little boats. Pretty much. And then Trump, according to reports, went on the air at CNN. CNN is reporting that that something's going to happen tomorrow. And that the Hegseth and others will be having a briefing. So that's that. I mean, back to the story today. Hostilities were renewed in the region on Monday as Iran attacked the United Arab Emirates. And Trump said the U.S. military shot down 7 small Iranian boats near Hormuz, but the number that we have now is 6. In an interview with Fox News, now this is where all the news is coming from, Trump underscored Washington's military power and he renewed his threats to Iran. And here's the kind of the chain of quotes that Trump wound up making that threat. I'll put the tanker up so you guys don't have to just look at print. We have more weapons and ammunition at a much higher grade than we had before, Trump said. We have the best equipment. We have stuff all over the world. We have these bases worldwide. They're all stocked up with equipment. We can use all that stuff, and we will if we need it. The U.S. military began implementing on Monday a Trump plan dubbed Project, not Operation, Project Freedom, to guide ships through the Hormuz and break the Iranian blockade on the strategic shipping lanes. Here is covering up, going to this is U.S. Central Command, and here's there's their graphic, and then here's the launch of that. I mean, we heard about this. This is dated April 3rd. It wasn't really posted prominently. I mean, they may have written it on April 3rd, but until no, it was posted on May 3rd. Sorry. And it just says U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, forces will begin supporting Project Freedom May 4th to restore freedom of navigation for commercial shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. The mission, directed by President, will support merchant vessels seeking to freely transit through the essential international corridor. And it's very short. Talks about, ships there and such. Here's the home page. The home page has this video, the home page of CENTCOM. And it is basically video of the military operation there, but it's not updated video. It's not like brand new video. It's file video of vessels. So just to clarify that. So here's the video of I'm trying to get to because now I'm all over the place. So every website, every news site has Trump's threat. And I wanted to get to, I think, to talk a little bit about the shooting. I'm going to get rid of CENTCOM here. The shooting, the bombing of the ship. Here's that video. This is the United Arab Emirates. And apparently Iran is saying that they didn't mean to do this, or this wasn't intended. But I don't know about that, because I'm reading reports now that that the United Arab Emirates has more and more begun aligning itself with Israel. But there's that. But I did pull a longer video on the war, which will give you an update of just recent events. And it's from Al Jazeera, and here it is, more package.
Fire at a major oil refinery as the United Arab Emirates says it's been attacked by Iran. The U.S. says it's shot down 6 small Iranian boats in the Strait of Hormuz. Tehran denies those claims. Also ahead.
It is going to take time, so nobody would dare at the moment pass through Strait of Hormuz.
The captain of an oil tanker stranded in the Gulf tells Al Jazeera he's not optimistic about U.S. plans to escort ships out of the area. The United Arab Emirates says it has intercepted a number of missiles from Iran. A large fire has broken out at a petroleum facility in the port city of Fujairah. 3 Indian nationals have been reported injured. The UAE's foreign ministry has issued a statement saying it reserves the full and legitimate right to respond. Tehran says it had no premeditated plan to target the UAE. Natasha Tarak is a journalist based in Dubai. She says the UAE is the first Gulf country to feel the impact of renewed tensions between the U.S. and Iran.
We heard the first missile alert ringing out over our phones for the first time in nearly a month since that shaky ceasefire was established on April 7th. And I would say a lot of dismay, anger, frustration, but not entirely surprised is how people are feeling here. And primarily because the key drivers of this war and the main sticking points between the U.S. and Iran have not yet been resolved. A handful of attempts at peace talks have fallen through. Most of the attempts haven't even led to the main belligerents meeting in person. And so we continue to be at this period of deadlock where one blockade is on top of another blockade. Both sides are not happy with what's going on. And in the U.S., there is a sense of from the Trump administration that the current U.S. naval blockade was not forcing the Iranians to bend. So both sides have now ratcheted up the pressure, ratcheted up the escalation, and the UAE suddenly, the first to feel that blowback from the uptick in escalation, just as it was when the conflict began. This country has received the highest volume of Iranian attacks, and it just seems like it's all kicked off again, especially at a time when there is more visible fracturing within the GCC, when the UAE is being slightly more overt in its alignments with Israel. And so the timing of all this is very interesting.
There you go. Their alignments with Israel. This is from The Hill. Iran opened fire on U.S. warships. 6 small boats destroyed in retaliation, according to CENTCOM. I don't know. Iran, and then, this is being reported in The Hill. Iran opened fire on U.S. warships in the Middle East on Monday. The U.S. military retaliated, destroying 6 Iranian small boats. They think that that fire was other boats. So I'm pretty sure. I don't know if this is if this story has been updated. I'm going to refresh and see. No, it still says that, and it still says that U.S. military commander Brad Cooper is also, like Trump, warning um, Iran to be careful. Cooper told reporters that he strongly advised Iran to steer clear of U.S. military assets as the Pentagon proceeded with the Project Freedom, and that the U.S. naval blockade, which bars vessels departing from Iranian ports from leaving the region, will remain in effect. Okay. Multiple U.S. Navy destroyers are positioned in the Persian Gulf, Cooper said, adding that the United States has cleared an effective pathway through Iran's mines for commercial ships. But if you heard in that report, one of the captains of one of the ships said, we don't want to do it. Vessels in the Persian Gulf represent 87 different countries, Cooper said. He added that the U.S. military has reached out to dozens of ships and shipping companies in the last 12 hours to encourage traffic flow through the Strait of Hormuz as part of Trump's Project Freedom. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good idea. Here's Trump. Trump was at an event today at the White House. It was in a room that would be perfectly fine for a ballroom, but he doesn't like it. Thinks it's too small. Anyway, he was in this event. It's for small businesses. And he didn't really talk about the war except for in this one soundbite, which I'll play for you now. But you see in the soundbite, he segues right into other things. He talked at length about his cognitive tests that he's taken. And he talked at length about the reflecting pool, which is having a facelift. And he talked about the ballroom. So when all this is going on with all the bombing and everything, and I mean, maybe he's being told not to talk about it, but then he went on Fox News and made these threats. So here's Trump on wars.
But I think it's so important for our country. We have to make sure we have the right people leading this country. Like we have a war right.
So he was just talking about cognitive decline and how he's taken the cognitive test and he's really smart, but everyone should have to take the test. Then, of course, he took the time out to insult Joe Biden. Joe Biden couldn't have passed the test. He took time out to say President Obama couldn't have passed the test. Then he segued into this rest of this.
Right now, and went to 6 weeks? They said, what's taking so long? We were in Vietnam 19 years. We're in Iraq for many years, 10 years, 12 years. We were in all these different wars. Korea, 7 years. I won't even mention World War II. That's a big baby. But you had the wrong person up here. You'll be in World War III. As sure as you're sitting there, you have the wrong person up there. It's nasty and tricky. It's tricky out there. We have to have the right people, and they have to be sharp and they have to be smart. Because one thing about your business is small businesses are great, but if you don't have the platform, meaning the country, meaning the right principles, the right everything, our country's booming now, despite the fact that we're in I call it a mini war, because that's all they are. They don't have a Navy anymore. Think of it. They had 159 ships. How many do they have left, Kelly? Out of 159, take a guess. She's very smart. 0. 159 ships. In the first 2 weeks, 159 ships. I actually got very upset. I said, how quality were the ships? They were very good. I said, why didn't you just take the ship? Why do you have to send it to the bottom of the sea? We could have had, and let's say out of the 159, we could have taken 59. We would have had 59. But they'd rather blow them up than save them. I would have preferred saving them, but these are minor details.
These are minor details. And I am just, it's troubling to hear Trump talk about World War III. Then here's, I put a graphic up between the sound bites because there he's talking about the war. That's pretty much the extent of what we get out of him on the war until he goes on Fox News later. But here he segues into.
But this is, I call it a knockout panel. See, some people would say, oh, that's a curtain. Underneath that curtain is a window. Outside of that window is the new ballroom. So I said, I'll get out of here and I'll let you guys, if you want to see a beautiful structure going up, complex, safe, things that could never happen, like happened a week ago. That was a pretty bad situation. You can't.
So he's talking there about the shooter at the Washington Correspondents' Dinner, which might be a fine time to mention this. So this is, I was going to mention it later when I have a story up about the trial, but I'll just talk about it now. This is Cole Allen, the shooter that was arrested at the Correspondents' Dinner that had all the weapons and tried to go after. Oh, there's that guy. And the judge is slamming. It would be the federal government, actually, for violating some civil rights here. He requested a Bible, which apparently is, you can have your Bible. And they put him on suicide watch, which he said he was not suicidal. So the lawyers went into court and said, he's got rights. And the judge was pretty stern about you're violating his civil rights. I'm actually looking for the article because I had it up. I had all these articles up and I've lost them all now. Because I don't know, I get a little upset when I hear, Trump talking about World War III. So, yeah, the report is out that we're going to have a briefing tomorrow from the military, from the Pentagon. And we saw that earlier. I saw the earlier report of the boat being blown up and caught on fire. Right here, the UAE is also accusing Iran of attacking an oil refinery. And that's happening now. This is, I'm on the Al Jazeera website. Yes, right. Condemn. Yeah. So there's that. So I have another video on the war. And the reason that I pulled this and I'm running it here for you is because it goes into, if you watch it, it goes into all the countries that are involved in, not directly with this, but indirectly, and how they're being harmed. And here is that report from Al Jazeera. I mean, I call it World War III ? Because it's troubling. It really is. Like, what is going on and what is getting involved? I mean, the other day, one of Trump's dudes asked China to get involved, asked China to come over and help get ships through the strait. And it's like, what are you talking about? He was on CNN or something. I'm not quite sure if it was Besant. I can't remember who it was. It's like, China should come and help us out, just to get the ships through. And it's like, dude, China is on Iran's side. Why are you asking China to come and get involved? I mean, let's don't go there.
کرد با اخطار قاطع و سریع نیروی دریایی ارتش جمهوری اسلامی از ورود ناوشکن‌های دشمن آمریکای صهیونی به
If you have an American Navy ship that has probably killed a good number of Iranians trying to pass through, Iran has the right and the responsibility under Article 51 of the UN Charter, it's called self-defense, to shoot at that enemy ship.
جز منافع خودش و اون مبادلات دلاری که داره بیشتر از اون فکر نکنم فکر بکنه. ولی اینکه هر چقدر این آدم هر چی میگه و برخلافش رو انجام میده و رو حرفیه که میزنه.
So here's that new map. And the Iranians are saying, see this line and that line, this is their domain now. And don't, you're not going to cross it. I'll just let it play, sorry. Yeah. So this operation launched by Trump and now being carried out is causing some real problems. So, and they are asking for other countries, as they have all along, to get involved. So that is what is going on in this case. There's other news, and I'm going to do like a quick rundown of some other news. God bless America. God bless America. I, obviously, as I know all of you do, love this country. And we all wish the best, and especially for our troops. And it's every day becomes another, like what's going to happen next. One of the things that happened today, when Trump was at that event in the White House, he was talking about his cognitive tests, which I have that soundbite. But he was talking about the economy and how great the economy is. And just as he was talking about that, we started getting, reports. So the Dow tumbled. So it crashed down. I don't mean to say crash. It lost 550 points as oil prices rise and investors fear Iran conflict could intensify again. Live updates. Here's a guy. Look at that face. I don't know if you guys can see the face. Yeah, there he is. Traders work on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange during morning trading. And this is actually a file photo from May 1st. Stocks fell on Monday as the latest developments in the Middle East sent oil prices higher, sparking further worries about the instability in the region. And then it just goes through, the Dow, and the United Arab Emirates said it intercepted a number of missiles fired from Iran. So we've already talked about that and how that ship, blew up. And now they say there's also another fire there. Oil prices increased. They rose to $106.42 a barrel. And they went up. Brent crude futures went up 5.8%. Damn it. That is high. To end at $114.44. That's high. And one economist kind of described the oil. I'm not quite sure who I heard this from. They described the oil problem that's happening right now as a gigantic swimming pool. And the swimming pool is empty. There's no oil. And so it's going to take a while to fill up the swimming pool to get the oil flowing back everywhere. And it's a global commodity, to say that every time. And so therefore, everyone on the globe suffers. And people are suffering now from a lack of some of the commodities related to what is happening there. So, here's Trump on the cognitive tests. And I was going to play this a little bit later because I've got some other stories I want to share with you.
Very easy. And they always show the first question is, you have a lion, a bear, an alligator, and what's another good? A squirrel. Okay? which is the squirrel? So they show that.
So he's talking about how he's taken this cognitive test 3 times, and he's the smartest president we've ever had. And, Barack Obama couldn't pass it. Nobody could pass it but him.
That question. And then the first 4 or 5 questions they get a little more difficult. By the time you get to the middle, they're tough. By the time you get to the end, I don't want to be insulting, but there won't be. I'm not going to do what Gavin Newsom said. You saw him?
All right, I just have one thing to say about that.
I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board.
All right, I'm sorry. I couldn't. Happy.
Your foul stench when I was brought on board.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm sure I'm going to get a violation. Sure, George Lucas is going to personally sue me. Maybe I better stop using it. But it is May 4th. We do need to have some fun in our lives. So I've got a story for you coming up on that AI trial. That's in a little bit. I did share the shooter, the alleged shooter at the Washington Correspondents' Dinner. He's complaining. His lawyers are complaining that his civil rights are being violated. And the way the judge was talking about it doesn't sound good. But I guess if you go anywhere near the president of the United States with guns and charge the door, you're not on the top priority of getting, things. But I guess he did finally get his Bible, and the judge said, you better give him his Bible right now. So I updated you on that. But here's the other story that happened today. Remember when I began, I did the whole thing about what would my lead story be if I was still in the news business, even though there isn't much of a news business anymore. The ceasefire shutter, the 6 boats that we sunk. Iran opens fire on United Arab Emirates. Trump threat to blow Iran off the face of the earth. I mean, none of this is funny. I don't know why I'm chuckling, because it's not funny. And, I do worry about this because he doesn't seem talking about the cognitive test. Here's the other story that happened today. Secret Service man shot by law enforcement near the National Mall. Actually, it was near the Washington Monument, which is not far from the White House. I mean, nothing's really far from the White House in Washington. Here's the soundbite of what happened. It's really, there was an injury, and it was a juvenile. So I don't know how old the child is. Not seriously injured, but taken to the hospital, as was the guy that fired. And the Secret Service is saying that the child that was injured was hit by the gunman, not by police. But they said that the investigation will continue. Here's that video.
Approximately 3:30 this afternoon, our plainclothes officers and agents that consistently patrol the outer perimeter of the White House complex identified a suspicious individual that appeared to have a firearm. They called in support from our marked uniformed Secret Service police to make contact with that individual. Upon making contact, that individual fled briefly on foot, withdrew a firearm, and fired in the direction of our agents and officers. They returned fire and engaged. That individual was hit. He's since been transported to the hospital. I have no comments on his condition. I can tell you that at least only one bystander was hit by the suspect. That individual is a juvenile, did not sustain any life-threatening injuries, but he's also receiving treatment at the hospital. I'll point out that not long before this shooting occurred, the Vice President's motorcade did transit through this area. The investigation itself, in terms of the use of force in the shooting, will be conducted by Metropolitan Police Department. I'll pause there.
Matthew, do we know how your guys identified this person as being suspicious? Was he on a radar?
See the camera shot there? This is called having a really bad day if you're a photographer.
How he appeared.
No, my understanding is they observed a print, we would call it, visual print of a firearm. These are trained surveillance detection personnel out there looking every day to look for just that. Not far from the White House complex, and they observed a visual print of a firearm.
They observed a visual print of a firearm. I mean, I was just, and I didn't, you know what? I was busy worried about the war. So I didn't go look up visual print of a firearm and how all that works or anything. So I'm going to do it after. I'm presenting this to you now, but he's Secret Service, and, this was on the feed, and it's been verified by every news organization I could read. And so, but wow, they knew he had a gun. Did they see an outline of it or no? Or is it some sort of surveillance thing?
Did you hack the motorcade in any way? Did he approach it with any menace?
No, not to my knowledge.
Was there any other reason to believe he was not just having here?
That's enough for me.
And do we know if the child who was struck was definitely struck by the shooter, by accident, perhaps by the officer?
I can't say, and we'll let the doctors figure that out, but everything I've seen leads me to believe, and the investigators believe, he was struck by the suspect.
So Mr. Quinn, this
They don't know, though.
near the White House, but not on the property.
Correct. Not on the property. We're not far. We are, just real quick, we're not far at all. You have been here from where this incident took place.
Did you tell us exactly where he was spotted? Not here?
I can't say exactly, but they had been following him for a brief period of time before uniformed police engaged.
So they were out, Secret Service, they were out and about, which I think they're always out and about in the area. And J.D. Vance's motorcade was going by in a little while. But I don't think they thought that it had anything to do with his motorcade going by. But what does anybody know? Really? Because, people are cuckoo. So that was another thing that happened today. And then I want to find this story because I was reading the story and it was pretty good. As we're all focused on the price of gas, the price of groceries, the war, all the other stuff that's going on, the Congress not doing anything. They're on another break while we've got all this stuff going on. The ICE protests are still going on. And this is one from New York City. And it's one guy that ICE was pulling out of the hospital. He was in the hospital. And, I don't know the background. I just know that the mayor criticized ICE for the way that protesters were treated. And here's that story. So throughout the video, and the video is 2 minutes long, you'll hear that sound, and it's trash cans. I mean, it sounds a little bit like, and I've got my hand, I forgot to turn off the emoji. I don't even know how it works. I'm not giving you the finger. At first I thought when I was first listening to it, that it was, gun pellets or something like that. But no, it's the trash cans being shoved around the ground. Here's the guy. So they're shouting, who do you protect? Who do you serve? Who do you protect? Who do you serve? And that is New York City and ICE is still doing all the things that, I mean, I don't know the background of the man that they were arresting. I do know that it is our right in the United States of America to peacefully protest. I don't know. I don't think throwing a trash can is, but here's more on the gunman. And I was trying to click into the story, and oh my God, I'm so disgusted with the New York Times, because I guess if I have more than one story up, they make me verify that it's me. Again, they send me the code and I have to go and check it out. But gunmen and Secret Service exchange fire near Washington Monument. They make it sound so much better than I did. A teenage bystander was hit, and the suspect was transported to a hospital and placed in police custody, the deputy director said. So there was an exchange of fire. So there's that. And I want to click into another story, but New York Times won't let me. And it's about, remember the, actually, there's two things. There was the abortion pill. So a lower court found that it's illegal to mail the abortion pill. The lower court is saying that it violates, the law that outlawed abortion. And so the companies that produce the abortion pill, the pharmaceutical companies, they have filed a writ with the Supreme Court and asked the Supreme Court to vacate that rule. So this is a little update. This is from NPR about what's up with that. So it's gone to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has blocked the lower court's ruling for 7 days. And then after 7 days, the companies that produce the pill have to produce more documents to decide, and then the Supreme Court will decide whether this is going to be a big national case, which it will be, because this one ruling from this one judge affects everybody. So where the abortion pill is legal, like for instance in the state of California, this would stop it from being mailed. So here's that story.
Drug companies Danco Laboratory and Gen Biopro asked the Supreme Court to immediately restore access to the drug mifepristone through the mail. The emergency request came after a federal appeals court on Friday blocked sending the drug through the mail after a telemedicine consultation with a doctor. The decision requires an in-person doctor visit to receive mifepristone, one of 2 drugs used in medical abortions. Most abortions are now done this way. In their request to reverse that decision, the drug companies say the appeals court decision had, quote, unleashed regulatory chaos, unquote. Rob Stein, NPR News.
Since the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in 2022, prescriptions by mail have become a major way that abortions are provided, including to states where bans are in place. In the ruling last week, the appellate court found that the prescriptions by mail circumvented an abortion ban in Louisiana. But NPR's Selena Simmons-Duffin reports on how the ruling will affect the whole country.
This is a really big deal. First of all, a decision from a panel of judges in New Orleans changed how Americans all over the country can access an FDA-approved medication. That's unprecedented. In terms of abortion access, this severely restricts access in states with abortion bans, but it also affects people in states like California, Maryland, Massachusetts, who have come to rely on telemedicine too.
Yeah, so the bottom line there with the abortion pill is other states that currently have it, it's legal, will be affected as well. So this is what they've been working for years to, not give women any options. Yeah. So when we go from women not having any options, we can just segue right into Black voters not having any options, because the Supreme Court is also now fast tracking stories right here. I don't know why I can't I gotta go. I can make this smaller. Hold on one second. The Supreme Court agrees to fast track Louisiana's voting map decision, which would really basically wipe out. It's what Florida's doing. They're wiping out any districts that have minority black voters. So I've talked about it before. It's the minority majority districts. That's what the Civil Rights Bill did. It gave black voters some power to elect black Congress members. This would basically wipe out those black districts. And someone said, well, then, it's fair. This is fair. If it's going to be, it's not in that, if you gerrymander a district so it's all a white district, predominantly white, because they're saying if you make it a black district, it's, unconstitutional. You can't do that. But they do it the other way. So how is that equal? It's not. But they're really jumping up and going, yeah, we're going to do this because this is how they could possibly keep control of the House. But I think that it's just me for the guy who said that eggs are $1.47 a dozen at Walmart. I don't know. I don't know about eggs. My eggs weren't $1.47 a dozen. I don't know about everything else. I don't know what you're buying. Are you saying that we don't have inflation right now? Is that what you're saying? So I disagree. There may be, I would have to really look into the egg thing, but I just don't want to. I feel sorry for you because you want people to kill God's creation. Oh boy. No. Let it not go there, my furry friend. My furry friend. Let's don't talk about this right now because we have to talk about the war and the bombing of children and the starvation of children. It's like that old George Carlin thing. Oh yeah, you really care about the babies before they're born, but afterwards, you don't give a damn. So, no, can't go there. Can't discuss my personal feelings when we're talking about politics and civil rights, equal rights, woman's right. When we all talk about, somebody was just on the feed just a little while ago talking about child trafficking. No, we're not going down that road. Not right now. Not when we've got a ceasefire shutter. U.S. sinks 6 Iranian boats. The President of the United States, once again, making these kinds of threats, blow Iran off the face of the earth. How many people will die if we blow Iran off the face of the earth? Let's stay focused on this right now. All right? Because the abortion battle, that ship has sailed. It has sailed. And I only say this because I'm a political reporter. Because I say the same thing about Trump. Trump's elected. He's president. The only thing we can do is look forward, if we have a forward, to what we do next. And what we do next is anybody who's appalled at gas being $6 a gallon, or, your eggs. I'm not quite sure what's going on with your eggs, my friend, because I know that farmers and ranchers are struggling right now. That's a fact. Go to the Farm Bureau websites. Let's stay focused on this and what this is costing Americans financially, but what it's could cost other people in their lives. So, do you think this is cool? And if you think it is, then sit on your ass and don't worry about voting in November. But we have a Congress who rubber stamps a president. That is not the way the country is supposed to work. We're supposed to have equal branches of government, and we've got a Congress that just rubber stamps this dude. And the guy is talking about cognitive tests, and he's not even talking about the right test. It's not even the test. He's talking about a totally different thing. And you know it, and I know it, and we all know it, that he's not well. And this.
I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board.
Sorry. I've got to stop. I'm going to get into so much trouble. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to get into trouble, but it's very short. It's only like 3 seconds. I recognize your foul stench when you got on the feed. You got on the chat. All right. So there's the abortion pill. There's the ICE protests. There is the Washington Monument shooting. There is a ceasefire and CNN reporting that something's going to happen in a few hours with all this blowing people off the face of the earth. There's RFK rescuing a bird. Oh, man, that guy. Oh, this is the other story that I wanted to share with you guys. All right, so we had that protest, right? New Yorkers. The Trump administration has shut down, shuttered, closed, gone. The Watchdog Office for Immigration Detention Abuses. As they build more prisons with our tax dollars, they're building more prisons. The closure of the Ombudsman's office adds to the lack of oversight of immigration jails nationwide. Do we really want to be that country that puts people in prisons and abuses them and doesn't give them their Bible? What about that? What about that, Christians? Don't you think people have the right to their Bibles? Hitler had his Bible when he was put in jail. You know, he was in jail before he rose up. This is happening as Trump's administration is in this effort per that bald-headed guy that put his wife in front of him at the shooting at the Washington Hilton. Steve Miller. They want detention capacity to soar. We could just look at some ads here. I like that motorcycle ad. The Department of Homeland Security is closing an office responsible for investigating misconduct and abuse of immigration detention systems, according to an internal memo to DHS employees obtained by the Huffington Post. So this is a breaking news story, people. The Office of Immigration Detention Ombudsman is in the process of removing all of its public signage and ending its inspections. So no more inspections. They're just going to do whatever they want in those prisons that we're paying for. You and I are paying for them. The office's public-facing website, which advises the families and attorneys of detainees on how to file complaints, was down on Monday afternoon. Today. It's happened today. Even basic informational websites explaining the office's responsibility appears to be having. Why have an informational page if you're not going to be there anymore? We need oversight, people. If you're trying to make detention as miserable as possible, then you're going to do what you can to get rid of the Ombudsman's office. Ombudsman's office. All right. Over 30 people have died in custody last year. So far this year, ICE has reported 18 deaths in custody, making it an even deadlier pace so far this year. All right. That's one of the stories that I wanted to share with you. Now, I don't know, you guys. What do you think? You're an earlier group. Usually I'm later. And when I'm on later, the shooter didn't actually discharge a weapon. You know, poor people eat eggs, juice, bread. Yeah, you know, it's not the greatest, healthiest diet. I saw my doctor today because everybody in my family, I have like, not everybody, but a lot of my young cousins have died from diabetes. I'm Latina, so we have a diabetes issue. And, a lot of the food, like we were talking the other night about beans and rice, it's carbs. I mean, they're carbs. It is a pure protein, but yeah, it's like not really, it may be a pure protein to eat beans and rice together, but it's not a healthy diet to just have that and nothing else. So, yeah, when you're poor, you just do the best you can with what you have. And for them to be cutting funds for food for hungry children and elderly, it's wrong. It's just wrong. So, so the AI trial, I did a little wrap of the AI trial. So this is the second week, and it's the two billionaires fighting against each other over the future of AI, which I like. I saw a story today that AI is really making kids, school kids, less able to write. We don't have good writers anymore because you just let AI write it for you. And I'm telling you right now, AI sucks as writers. They don't know what they're doing. AI stinks. But I'm only playing this video for you because it's short. But just watch the people behind the attorney. That was why I watched it. It's like, yeah, this is cool.
Today was a strong day in court.
I'm sure he's a very nice man.
To be able to hear from Mr. Brockman and to have the court and jury receive his direct testimony under oath. We were frankly very encouraged by what we heard today, as it was fully consistent with Mr. Muck's claims and positions in this case, and will continue.
Everyone sucks here, except protesters and media. I like that she adds media so that the media will let her keep the sign up.
To develop the record step by step. The evidence is unfolding with tangible clarity that will ultimately,
he has trouble,
we believe, lead to victory and a verdict in favor of Mr. Musk. In particular, Mr. Brockman's testimony and his journal, in his own unfiltered words, reinforces our confidence in our claims, and we look forward to continue to build on this progress as the case proceeds. We have great respect for the jury and the court and appreciate the careful work that they're doing to ensure a fair trial in this case. We look forward to the days ahead and will continue to let the record and the facts speak for themselves. Thank you.
She's got another sign.
On the stand or a journal entry that you can specifically point out as what you consider the most revealing piece of evidence? Maybe one thing.
I paraphrase, but he's speaking.
America is in danger. Stop AI.
As the director and officer of a nonprofit, a publicly subsidized nonprofit, and he's writing secretly, how do I get to 1 billion? And now testified that he got to 34 billion based on the assets of what we believe is a charity and should remain so. Thank you.
So, Rob, are there efforts to settle this and to bring some kind of resolution to this outside of the court?
We're always open to settlement discussions, but those are private and should remain so.
Mr. Musk sent emails or text messages to the other?
I can't discuss settlement. discussions because they're supposed to be confidential.
And who else do you have planned for your witnesses moving forward? I imagine Mr. Brockman will be on.
That's it. The one kid could barely get his T-shirt up, stop AI. And then she put her sign down. They kind of lost interest. 81-year-old Rudy Giuliani, we talked about that yesterday. Apparently he had a heart attack, and that was why he was in the hospital. And then the whole issue was, he had pneumonia. But now he's breathing on his own. So yeah, I don't know if the heart attack thing was true. But yeah. So that's an update. I'm going to Al Jazeera now. And I thank the person who shooter didn't actually discharge a weapon. That one woman that used to be on Fox News, Jeannie Perot or whatever her name is, she said that that the bullet that was in the bulletproof vest, it was yesterday, it was posted yesterday on the New York Times. She said that it was from one of the shooter's guns. It wasn't a bullet. I'm sorry. It was a pellet, because he had a pellet. I mean, it was a long gun that had pellets in as the, I don't know if it was buckshot or I'm not quite sure what it was. But so he did, according to them, he did fire. But who knows what the truth is? So I'm just saying, quote unquote, according to her. There's that. And thanks also to the person who said something about the ships that Malcolm Nance was talking about this, the ships that Iran fired on. I don't know, you do something where you sign a paper and then it's a U.S. ship as it goes through the strait or whatever, but it's not really a U.S. ship. It's from India or from some other country. So there's that whole thing. So I don't think they've fired on U.S. warships. It's like ships there in the strait area. So I'm just reading to make sure that there's nothing happening before I sign off. Thanks everybody for being here. I'm Gloria Moraga. This is Political News. Please subscribe. It's 9:30. I usually do my live stream about 11. So I don't know if I'm missing some of my group, but I might do something later. I will definitely come on and update if anything happens. I could always update from my phone if anything happens, but I like to have the computer in front of me so that I can quote, stock market's not good. The economy's not good. The cheap eggs aside. Great call in the Supreme Court. Supreme Court's destroying our country. I can hardly wait until we get some new, honestly, you guys, I blame the Senate for all this mess that we're in, because they didn't have to approve those Supreme Court justices. Some of them were stinkers. That one guy that's the really worst one is a real stinker. Yeah, but they just approve them, let them go. I was on Capitol Hill covering the Supreme Court when Clarence Thomas got confirmed. And the liberals said they're never going to ever approve Clarence Thomas. They will never, ever approve him. Remember the whole thing with him sexually harassing Anita Hill? But there was more. There was more dirt on him. And it was like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And then I remember the day that they voted and passed him. They approved him. I had liberal senators like Howard Metzenbaum from Ohio and a number of others that I covered regularly. I worked on Capitol Hill as a political reporter, but I covered for certain markets. Like I covered for Dayton, Ohio, Channel 7. and other markets. And those senators wouldn't even look me in the eye. They wouldn't even talk to me afterwards. It's like, I thought you said that you were never going to approve him, and then they wound up approving him. So, and he's been one of the worst justices in history. He's not smart, and he picks his nose while he sits on the Supreme Court. All right, I've lost it. I just have one more thing to say.
I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board.
I recognized your foul stench when you were brought on board. Yeah, love her. Love that. Well, love those movies. And I hope you all have a good night. I'll see you later. Resistant starch will help considerably with diabetes prevention. Yeah, the only diet that's ever worked for me, and it works, and I love it, is the high protein diet, is the keto diet. So, I mean, in the old days, this was like, go on the protein diet. It's just salad and chicken and salad. And I love to grill. And so you can grill a hamburger and have it with lettuce, have protein style. I love it, and I can eat it, and that'll be fine. But boy, the minute somebody gives me some sourdough French bread, I am gone. I am gone. I can eat a whole loaf of sourdough French bread. But yeah, the doctor says, well, we're going to have to put you on some medication if you don't get your diabetes, blood sugar level stuff under control. It's like, yeah, okay. He's a great guy. But it's so hard to not have bread when you like bread. And when you're a Mexican, you eat tortillas when you're little, and your tortillas and your beans and your rice. So anyway, all right. Okay, thanks you guys. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Please subscribe. Please watch my videos and give me some likes. I'm monetized, but it's not. I know I'm doing it wrong. I've got to I've got to jazz up. Look, I've got to jazz up my political punk and do some emojis. I don't know when the next, we need to, Trump's having the big, here. Trump's having the big.
I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board.
Trump's having his big party for our anniversary, for the anniversary of the country, and it's on his birthday. So I'm thinking that's in June. So I'm thinking there's got to be one around then, right? And it's just, I'm so proud every time we have one because everybody's so peaceful and just perfect. I know for me in California, I just watch all these people talking about the governor's race and these billionaires that are getting into the governor's race. And it's like, I hope that we're not going to be this stupid to vote for one of these billionaires. And I liked Ben Mysalis today from the Midas Touch. I don't know when he posted it, if it was today or whenever, but he interviewed 4 of the top candidates. And that Steyer was the first one that he interviewed. And it's like, why is he interviewing this guy? Because he's the billionaire that invested in prisons, in private prisons. I don't trust anybody that would invest in private prisons. Oh, it was a long time ago. It's like, oh, no, dude. No, it wasn't a long time ago. Plus, he's old. Let's get some new, fresh blood. So Katie Porter's in there. There's another guy from San Jose. He's the mayor of San Jose. I really liked him. He talked about his dad with Ben Mysalis about how his dad was a mailman. And his dad worked every day and had to continue working until he was 71 so that he and his mom and his dad, they could have a retirement. So he seems like a really good guy. So, and then there's Becerra, which I don't know why people don't like him, but he would be, I think he's got credentials. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm looking forward to another good protest, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll just see what happens tomorrow with the war. And the stock market. And Trump's there talking about the stock market and how everything's just going just fine. And the stock market's crashing. Remember Pam Bondi? The stock market. All right, so we can also look forward to who's going to get fired next. I mean, the war doesn't seem to be going very well in Trump's favor. They say that Trump, and I say Trump's favor because he seems like he just pulls ideas out of his butt. You know, it's like, oh, let's try this. Because he's apparently getting pressure from friendlies in the Gulf because they're worried. They're worried about their oil and all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to be up. I've got my alerts on, and if anything happens, I'm just going to I'm going to leave my computer on, and I'm just going to come down and do a live. So, thanks everybody. And then I got to go to court tomorrow. I have to go to court up in the mountains. And so I don't know what's going to happen there. If something starts happening with the war, I'll have to do something from my phone because I'm trying to make my channel newsy. Got to do some breaking news. All right. Thanks everybody for being here. I appreciate you. And I will be back and see you next time. Please subscribe. Gloria Moraga, Political News, and share and all that stuff that helps, according to Ben Meiselas and Malcolm Nance. Malcolm Nance always says, hit the hearts.